Hebrews. This is our Prophets of Awakening. Thursday night, the 14th of March 2024. This is our Women's Advanced Bible Study on class. So we'll be reading out of the book of Isaiah for our discussion. You can go to our YouTube channel, The Prophets of Awakening. Check out our video. We have over 900 or so videos, a lot of topics that you can investigate and listen to. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It'd be greatly appreciated. And for those who want to support the channel, we're moving forward. We have our cash app at the bottom of the screen. Okay, our hours of operation that we are on the channel on YouTube is Tuesday nights from 7 to 9 p.m. Central Time. Then Wednesday nights we do a lot of reading through the Tanakh, through the Old Testament, and it's 7 to 9 p.m. Central Time. Then we come back on Thursday nights for our advanced Bible study. Same time, 7 to 9 p.m. Central Time, and then we come back on Fridays for our men's advanced Bible study. But we're on Clubhouse. And the time is the same, 7 to 9 p.m. and it's Central Time. Then we have 2 Shabbat classes, one in the morning from 10 to 12 a.m. Central Time. Then we close out the Shabbat from 7 to 6 p.m. Central Time. So that's our schedule. If you want to find the time to come in and check it out, it's, those are the times. Okay? And for those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance. And the Torah, which is the first 5 books of the law, books that deal with Israel culture, our way of life, our statutes, our laws, how we move around. So with that being said, shalom and welcome to the channel, and welcome to our Women's Advanced Bible Study night, okay? So we're going to pick up and do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer, psalms, women's health moment, current events, a little need to know information. Then we open up for some Q&A and dialogue, and then we'll go into our topic, which is we'll be picking up in the book of Isaiah at chapter 5. And we'll start reading and breaking down the scriptures, and then we'll close out. Okay, so with that being said, this moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts and all that he's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay. Oh Lord, we come this day praising thee and worshiping thee for thy might and thy power and thy grant. Oh Lord, the end times that you have foretold unto our forefathers are upon us. Oh Lord, give us strength and wisdom to endure all that thou hast foretold. Give us, O Lord, the knowledge to rightly divide thy word, that they are delivered in righteousness and in truth. There's great confusion among your inheritance, O Lord, now that you are awakening them. For I know, O Lord, that your hand is sure and that your hand is firm. O Lord, we need you so very much in these latter days. And we will tarry and depend upon you, O Lord, because there is none else besides you, O Lord. You are our deliverer and our redeemer. Peace be unto you. Okay. So with that being said, we're going to read the Psalms. Okay. Somebody going to read the Psalms?
Yes, shalom. I'm reading Psalms 24. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof, the world, and they that dwell therein. For he has found it upon the seas, and established it upon the floods. Who shall ascend into the hills of the Lord, or who shall stand in his holy place? He that has clean hands and a pure heart, who hath not lifted up his soul unto vanity, nor sworn deceitfully. 5. He shall receive the blessings from the Lord, and righteousness from the God of his salvation. 6. This is the generation of them who seek him, that seek thy face, O Jacob. Selah. Lift up your heads, O ye gates, and be ye lifted up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is the King of glory? The Lord, strong and mighty, the Lord, mighty in battle. Lift up your heads, and ye gates, O ye gates, even lift them up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is the King of glory? The Lord of hosts. He is the King of glory. Selah. I read Psalms 24, verses 1 through 10.
Okay.
Um, I want to know when he says, lift, O ye gates, is that our hearts to be opened up to the heavenly, the Lord of hosts, or is it physical?
That's the gates of Jerusalem.
Gates of Jerusalem.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well. You can look at it as the the gates in the into the temple. You know, the east gate. The east gate is where the Lord hosts come in at through the east gate. So it says, "Lift up your hands, O ye gates, even lift them up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in." So that's the door. That's the east gate. You know, the temple has 12 gates, and the Lord
Yes,
always comes in through the east gate when He comes into the temple.
yes, sir. Also, right here where it says verse 4, and it says, He that has clean hath clean hands and a pure heart, who does not lift up his soul unto vanity, nor sworn deceitfully. I understand that was part, but when it says clean hands, um, nowadays that we have to now that sin is upon us, or we have done sin, we repented for it. By our repentance, is that our hands to be clean, or that's
Well,
to wait on the judgment?
we go back to at the time when this was written, we was our laws, statutes, and judgments. You can go to Leviticus and you'll see they had sin offerings, like when what Adam done in the garden. Adam had sinned, and so the way he was cleansed was that the Lord showed him how to sacrifice an animal for his sin offering on the altar. So that's how you get clean hands. You can go to Hannah when she came to the temple. They had to have a certain amount of certain according to what their wealth was. They had to have a turtle dove, or they had to have a ram, according to what they, like I said, according to what their wealth was. They can afford a ram, or they can afford an oxen, or whatever. They got that, but it was a sin off. So a prime example of that is Genesis chapter 15. Genesis chapter 15 says, uh, and he said unto me, just 15 and 7, it's Abraham, and he said unto me, I am the Lord that brought thee out of Ur of the Chaldeans to give thee this land to inherit it. And he said, Lord God, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? And he said unto him, take me a heifer, 3 years old, and a she goat, 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove and a pigeon. All these are clean animals. And you sacrifice them according to what, like I said, we know Abraham wealthy. He got all kind of animals all over the place. So he was able to sacrifice all this. And so that's how you get clean. You cleanse yourself. You got clean hands, starting over. And the same thing with the Day of Atonement for the whole nation of Israel. They go into the Holy of Holies once a year, and they take 2 goats in there. One of the goats they release into the wilderness, and that goat is according to the sin, the original sin that started with Aziel. They release that goat into the wilderness, and then the other goat, the high priest lay his hands on him, and they kill him. It's a sacrifice. That's to cleanse Israel for their sins for that year. So that's what he means by having clean hands.
Shalom. So today, what what does it mean for us? Like I said, repentance or something else? How we get
No,
clean hands?
that was my point. Was let's go to Daniel right quick. This where the drummer come in with the Christian, and they never want to get to this point because they always sidebarking the whole conversation. But if you allow the conversation to just flow, you'll see in the book of Daniel in chapter 8, I think it is. Yeah, chapter 8. It says, chapter 8, verse 18. This Gabriel coming to Daniel. He had a dream about the ram and the he-goat, right? Let me see if that's correct. Yeah, he had the ram and the he-goat. So he says that in verse 18, now as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep on my face toward the ground, but he touched me and set me upright. Then he said, behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of indignation, or the time appointed the end shall be. So what end is that? The temple. So from this point on right here, he took away the animals. The animals we just read, Abraham had, the clean animals, the ones that Noah had on the ark. If you notice on the ark, he got two, a male and a female from all the unclean animals. But the clean animals, he had to get 7 because he had to use them for sacrifices. Some of them. So right here, he says his indignation came to a full. He kicked the Israelites out, took away their herds and their flocks because he don't want to deal with them no more. That's where we at. So, and I showed you in Isaiah, right, that in Isaiah chapter 60, he returning to us. Because now it's time for he want it's time for us to deal with him again. So in chapter 60, I'll read it. The first 7 verses. It says, arise. So it's time for us to go back. Shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. For behold, darkness shall cover the whole earth, gross darkness the people. But the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. So he back, just like they came out of Egypt. They saw the Lord. They saw the cloud. They saw the fire in front of them. He was with them. So this right here, he's not been with us until this point right here. He shows back up in verse 3. And the Gentiles shall come to thy light. What light? The Creator, the Lord of hosts. He the light. And the keys to the brightness of thy rising. Lift up thy eyes round about and see all they that gather themselves together. They come to thee. Thy son shall come from afar, and thy daughter shall be nursed upon thy side. Then, at this point right here, then thou shalt see and flow together, and thine heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee. The forces of the Gentiles shall come unto thee. So what's the forces of the Gentiles? 6, the multitude of cannibals shall cover thee, the drummery of Midian, Ephod, and all they from Sheba shall come to the come. They shall bring gold, incense, and they shall flow. They shall show forth the praises of the Lord. 7. And the flocks of Kedar shall be gathered together. We get all the animals back we need. Deal with him. He took away the animals because so we can't deal with him. So he says in 7, all the flocks of Kedar shall be gathered together unto thee. The rams of Nebat, right, shall minister unto thee. How they minister? On the altar, just like he showed Adam, right? It says, to minister unto thee. They shall come up with acceptance on mine altar, and I will glorify the house of my glory. So what house is that? The house of Jacob, the Israelites. That's the house. That's who he inherited. Jacob and his 12 sons and their descendants. Okay, did that
Yes, sir.
answer the question?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay. Where we at? We at Women's Health Month.
Shalom, everyone. Please note that the information that is shared is intended for general, informational, and educational purposes only and is not medical advice or recommended treatment. Tonight's discussion is on why onions are good for you. Onions may bring tears to your eyes and a stench to your breath, but onions also add a lot of flavors to dishes. Whether you like this root vegetable raw or cooked, there are many health benefits to eating onions. Onions are a part of the alum family, a group of spicy, sharp root vegetables that includes garlic, leeks, and chives. There are many varieties of onions to choose from, including yellow, red, white, purple, Spanish, and Vidalia onions. They also have many health benefits. People have used onions for medicinal purposes for centuries. Onions are a good source of vitamins, minerals, and fiber, and are known to offer a variety of health benefits such as blood sugar regulation, bone health, decreases inflammation, fight against infection, relieves sore throat and coughing symptoms, improves your digestive system. Onions are also a good source of vitamin C, folate, folate B9. Folate is essential for cell growth and metabolism and especially important for pregnant women. Vitamin B6 and potassium. Potassium is a good mineral that have blood pressure lowering effects and is important for heart health. The bottom line is that onions are a root vegetable with a variety of benefits and come in many different varieties. They're high in antioxidants and sulfur containing compounds, some of which may have several beneficial effects, commonly used as flavoring or side dishes. Onions are a staple food in many cuisines. They can be baked, boiled, grilled, fried, roasted, or sauteed. So if you enjoy them, onions can be a valuable component of a healthy diet. I will be reading Numbers chapter 11, verses 1 through 9. The people complained. And when the people complained, it displeased the Lord. And the Lord heard it, and his anger was kindled. And the fire of the Lord burnt among them and consumed them that were in the uttermost parts of the camp. And the people cried unto Moses. And when Moses prayed unto the Lord, the fire was quenched. And he called the name of the place Taberah, because the fire of the Lord burnt among them. Verse 4. And the mixed multitude that was among them fell a lusting. And the children of Israel also wept again and said, who shall give us flesh to eat? We remember the fish which we did eat in Egypt freely, the cucumbers and the melons and the leeks and the onions and the garlic. But now our soul is dried away. There is nothing at all besides this manna before our eyes. And the manna was as coriander seed, and the color thereof as the color of bindalum. And the people went about and gathered it and ground it in mills, or beat it in mortar, and baked it in pans, and made cakes of it. And the taste of it was as the taste of fresh oil. And when the dew fell upon the camp in the night, the manna fell upon it. Tonight's discussion was on why onions are good for you, and I read Numbers chapter 11, verses 1 through 9. Shalom.
Okay. Appreciate that information. Okay. We go into our current events.
Saying possible mass migration of Haitians attempting.
Yeah, you remember a couple of years, I think a year or so ago, when they had the horses out there dealing with the Haitians, right? And since then, we see all these immigrants, Mexicans coming in here, but now they got the drama going on in Haiti, and a bunch of Haitians are coming into Florida. Let's look how they react.
To enter the United States through the Florida coast. Violence continues to escalate in Haiti, and it's to the point now where the Pentagon has just deployed Marine anti-terrorism units.
Pentagon got Marines.
As a result, Governor DeSantis is sending over 250 soldiers and officers to protect the state from the land, sea, and sky.
Mass migration concerns. Tonight, Florida politicians, including our Governor Ron DeSantis, are bracing for a possible surge of Haitian refugees packing into boats and arriving on our shores.
The governor announcing today he is sending troops here to South Florida.
A new year, new arrivals, and a new plan aimed at slowing the rising tide of migrants trying to enter the U.S. illegally.
Okay, so Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, he says in order to prevent migrants from reaching his state, of course, in Florida, he is deploying more than 250 additional officers and soldiers and more than a dozen air and sea craft to the southern coast of his state, saying that the Coast Guard is lacking resources to interdict a mass migration if it were to happen.
Right now, U.S. Marines are being deployed to the island. At the same time, Project Dynamo here in Tampa is planning its latest mission there, rescuing stranded Americans.
This as the country is still facing escalating gang violence with an unclear transition of power after its prime minister agreed to resign.
Now, the U.S. plans to deploy an anti-terrorism team to the U.S. Embassy. Here in Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis is deploying the National Guard to the Keys to prevent what he believes could be a potential influx of migrants.
But some with intel here on the situation are saying it isn't the coastal sector that needs to be worried here. While many are focusing on these migrants that might be fashioning makeshift boats and arriving at the coast, the president of the Border Patrol Council, Brandon Judd, is telling us that the cartels are going to try to push Haitian migrants into the country illegally, exploiting most likely the Del Rio sector, namely Eagle Pass, Texas. Now, that has been working for them. And so why break, why fix what's not broken? So they'll likely try that route again. Now, as you'll remember, more than 2 years ago under the Del Rio International Bridge, where nearly 16,000 Haitian migrants amassed, that infrastructure wasn't in place to handle that many people. And Judd says that the cartels could easily take a page out of that playbook again, with Eagle Pass pretty much being sealed off right now under Governor Abbott's Operation Lone Star. Now, let's give you a look at the numbers of Haitian migrants that we've seen this month when we compare them to last year. Now, we've seen that number more than triple, as more than 4,000 Haitian migrants have been encountered at our land crossings just this month alone. And in February, more than 11,400 migrants from Haiti were encountered so far this month, though it is tracking to be similar. Here's the thing, though. It's going to take 1 to 3 months for these individuals who are currently fleeing to actually get here. Now, Natasha, we can tell you the repatriations are still happening. The U.S. Coast Guard sent back 65 migrants from Haiti just this week, but
I want to give you this book for free. It contains the
flights are being threatened. Brandon Judd confirming that those could be halted if the unrest continues there, the chaos continues there, because Natasha, they have to have permission to land those flights back in Haiti.
Meanwhile, Border Patrol officials are warning agents to prepare for an uptick in the number of Haitian migrants coming into the U.S. The warning comes amid rampant gang violence in the Caribbean nation, and the UN estimates heavily armed gangs now control around 80% of the capital of Port-au-Prince. This is forcing thousands of Haitians to flee their homes, and it's not clear just how many are headed here to the U.S.
So this crisis could be coming to the coast. Obviously, it's kind of not an if but when situation. We'll see some migrants from Haiti attempting to come into the United States. Now, which direction that is still remains to be seen. However, we are learning this morning that the Army facility, Guantanamo Bay, might be used if the U.S. Coast Guard ends up interdicting mass migration.
Guantanamo Bay is going to be used if it's Coast Guard. If the Coast Guard interdicts them and the Coast Guard does not allow them to one of our ports in Florida, then it goes to Guantanamo Bay. But those that come up to our southwest border, it's always going to be the Border Patrol that is going to deal with them, simply because of the sheer numbers. And no, we do not have the infrastructure to deal with that. We just, anything above 1,000 apprehensions per day, and we're underwater.
Florida, what happens next? Are they processed and then is it a catch and release situation, or are they sent back to Haiti? And that's a great question. You know, we want intercepts in international waters or territorial waters with Coast Guard and state assets so that they can be repatriated and returned to Haiti or some other location. You know, if they end up getting into Florida, and again, we don't know who's coming in on these boats. And I have to say that time and time again, because we've seen this with other countries with their criminals being released from prisons and encouraged to come into the U.S. with not much resistance from this administration. And so if they make it to the state of Florida or any other state, we then hand it over to the fiasco of DHS. And you've seen what that leadership has done in terms of protecting the integrity of and safety of this country. And so what we want to make sure is we're supplementing resources with the Coast Guard to intercept these vessels before they reach the state. It is a chaotic time, but Florida has taken that preemptive step. Attorney General Ashley Moody, thank you so much for joining us.
North Miami's mayor is Haitian American. He said that the words of Governor Ron DeSantis resonate in this community, especially after he said that the state faces the possibility of invasion. At this barbershop in North Miami, there's fear for the future of Haitians.
The people leave their house, they don't have any place to stay. That's the reason like people try to leave Haiti to come to the United States.
And concerns over a possible influx of Haitian migrants to South Florida are growing. On Tuesday, the U.S. Coast Guard intercepted a boat off the coast of the Bahamas. It was filled with 65 Haitians. They were all sent back.
But they don't disperse throughout the country.
But Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz says the deteriorating conditions in Haiti may lead to a wave of Haitians making their way to Florida on boats.
What are we doing to prepare for that wave and to ensure that these people are not paroled into the United States as the administration has done with people on the southern border, but instead are repatriated back at the dock at Port-au-Prince?
On Wednesday, Governor Ron DeSantis issued a statement. It says, I have directed the Division of Emergency Management of Florida State Guard and state law enforcement agencies to deploy over 250 additional officers and soldiers to the southern coast of Florida to protect our state. He goes on to say, when a state faces the possibility of invasion, it has the right and duty to defend its territory and people.
Invasion? Come on.
Alex Dizon is the mayor of North Miami, the city with the highest concentration of Haitian Americans in the nation. He is appalled by the reaction from Washington, D.C. and Tallahassee.
It's a humanitarian crisis. It's almost going to be a civil war. And there are talks. There might be some influx of Haitian coming to the U.S. There's no invasion. If the governor wanted to have a conversation, we are here. I think it would have been best for it to see, what is it that we could do for the Haitian American community, for their families and friends, but to put out, this invasion of illegal immigrants is not right.
We notice many of these Haitians fear expressing their opinions for apparent retaliation here in the U.S. and Haiti. And according to U.S. officials, the Biden administration is discussing whether using Guantanamo Bay to process Haitian migrants if there should be an exodus to the U.S. Now, the White House has not confirmed that, but the crisis continues.
All right, Congressman Matt Gaetz is with us now, member of the Armed Services Committee. Is this actually going to happen, another mass wave of Haitian boat people?
Certainly. Haiti is a failed state right now. The Biden administration officials I was speaking with couldn't distinguish Haiti from a failed state. And we know that is the #1 push factor that sends thousands of people into the Florida Straits, onto Florida shores. And here's the legal status of those folks. If we interdict them at sea, we are able to pull right up to a dock at Port-au-Prince as a consequence of our agreements there.
Okay. Any comments on that? Anybody hear anything about that?
Shalom. No, sir. But I remember back in 2021 when they assassinated the president, how many that came over fleeing from Haiti. They were, I guess, in the hundreds of thousands came over. And now they're saying that this is going to happen again. There's some people that's still over there that's Americans that goes over there for orphanage and helping them out. Some got to be able, like they said, some of them were able to come back, but there's still some there of Americans.
Okay, anybody else?
Yes, sir. I heard about that. And, really, they are putting this out all over the media with the people in Florida saying that, our gated communities will not be protected anymore, so forth, right? So it was one comment somebody said that it's a shame that the governors have to do Biden's job. So, yeah, they are working hard at keeping the Haitians out, but not the Mexicans out.
Right.
They complain about it's not our job to take care of them. That's more tax money from us. It's something else.
Right. Look at the terminology. They deploying a anti-terrorism unit. So now all of a sudden these Haitians is terrorists, but all these now Mexicans ain't no terrorists. They're giving them all kind of money, but now all of a sudden it's a big red alert going on all over the place. The Pentagon getting involved because it's Haitians.
Right.
So like I was saying before, it's a big sign to me because these are predominantly most of these people are Levites from the tribe of Levi, children of Judah, children of Jerusalem. I mean, when you do your research, so all this ain't happening on a coincidence. So, okay, so anybody else got any comments on that? Okay, here we go.
About reparations for Black Californians who were descendants of slaves. So y'all remember a couple of years ago when California was like the first state to talk about reparations for Black Californians who were descendants of slavery. And everybody was so excited, me including me, because I'm from California, right? So we were waiting to hear what this study was going to produce. And well, they said what it is. Now I want to read y'all this very, very short article from the Associated Press in regards to what the findings were. It says Black lawmakers in California on Wednesday introduced a package of reparation legislations, calling it a starting point to atone for the state's legacy of discrimination. The California's Legislative Black Caucus introduced a package of more than a dozen proposals months after its first in-nation reparations task force sent a report 2 years in the making to lawmakers, recommending rather how the state should apologize and offer redress to Black Californians. The package doesn't include widespread direct cash payments to Black families. Quote, we are witnessing the effects of the longstanding institution of slavery and how that impacts our communities, Democratic Assembly member Mike Gibson said at a press conference at the state capitol. Also said the proposal must now garner political support as the state faces a massive budget deficit. Reparations advocates were quick to criticize the package exclusion of widespread compensation. Other critics said many of the proposals fall outside of the scope of reparations, and some say they would be too costly to implement. So basically, in a nutshell, Black Californians who are descendants of slaves are not getting no money. Now, y'all know these proposals are things like education, and the prison system, which is the predominantly Black people in prison disproportionately, I should say. Some remedies there, housing and this, that, and the other. So basically, they're saying, we're going to tell y'all how to spend your money, right? And we're like, no, we want money. Now, listen to what they said at the end. He's talking about, oh, well, it's too expensive. Basically, we don't know where we're finding the money. I want to say this to Gavin Newsom, the governor there of California. Y'all found the money to give to the migrants. When you talk about all migrants, regardless of what their immigration status is, they're going to get full health care. That's going to cost $2.6 billion a year. Did y'all have to find the money? They talk about, oh, California, the budget is tight, but it wasn't tight enough for people who ain't even supposed to be here. But Black Californians who are descendants of slavery, y'all ain't got it. Y'all gonna tell us how to spend the money, education, housing, and this, that, and the other. Y'all should be doing all that anyway, because California is the most expensive one of them anyway, places to live in the nation, but y'all ain't got the money. And then you got all those Negroes standing up there, delivering the news like that's supposed to be more palatable to us. Oh, well, since it's Black people delivering the news, then it must be all right. No, it ain't all right, because as we know, Malcolm X has told us a long time ago, they often send people that look like us out to talk about, well, Massa's all right. What I heard them say without them saying is, well, Massa, Gavin Newsom and them, they can't afford it, so just trust me on this. The stuff that we can get, I think y'all gonna like it. No, we don't like it. We don't want it. We wholeheartedly reject it. We want money. And we want it right now. I say reparations now. Especially since we know you got it, as I said, you're giving it to the migrants. They snug as a bug in a rug. They got everything they need. But Black people who are also the most homeless in the nation and the most homeless in California, we got to hear for our people, we ain't got it, but you got it for the migrants. See, that's what they call, as the young people say, playing in our faces. They're playing in our faces, but see, this is the other problem too. Black people make up about less than 6% of the population in California. So I think those politicians have gotten smart. Black people can't do nothing for us. Now, there ain't that many of them here anyway, because we know that most Black people now live in the South. So I think Gavin Newsom and them, they've been counting the numbers and say, well, the Black people vote for us. That's great. If they don't, that's great too, because now we're going to bring in all these migrants, give them all everything. California is predominantly Hispanic.
Okay. Any comments on that?
Shalom. I think the hidden agenda behind all that, by one wants to get their reparations, and by declaring themselves Black African Americans descended from slaves, that in the Black Laws Dictionary, the word Black and as Black as a people is not recognized. And they allow them to continue to use that word. So at the end, when they come for it, if you're going to use your word Black, identify you as a Black American, they're not going to give it to you, because in Black Laws Dictionary, it says that you're not recognized as a citizen of the United States. They have so many loopholes in these laws, and they allow them to continue to outbursts, protests, and everything, but they know that what they have in their pocket to use against them once it comes about.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, yeah. So if you look at that, like I was saying last night, about everything go around in circles. We're dealing with the Creator, dealing with our Redeemer. So if you notice in the Egyptian captivity, the Lord of hosts sent Moses to the Pharaoh and told him to let his people go. on several occasions, and the more every time he sent them, they came up with some trick bag not to do it until eventually the Lord of hosts had to punish him. So we see right here that the powers that be, the ruling authority, which is the UN, and told him 3 or 4 times to pay reparations and to free us up, give us the ability to go back where if we wanted to go back to our land, our homeland, and they haven't done it. So, like I said, there's nothing new under the sun. They're gonna keep on until they got to be punished, and we already see that coming. Okay, so keep that in mind. Somebody had something.
Yes, sir. Shalom. So would we look at Psalms 31, verse 1? In thee, O Lord, do I put my trust. Let me never be ashamed. Deliver me in thy righteousness. Bow down thy ear to me. Deliver me speedily. Be thou my strong rock for the house of defense to save me. For thou art my rock. Thou art my rock and my fortress. Therefore, thy name's sake, lead me and guide me. I read those 1 through 3, to say that we should not get so wound up in what's going on because the Lord of Hosts has everything prepared and at the prophecy is coming through. So we just continue to read and learn about whose we are and how to conduct ourselves as we're going through this transition to be on the other side to our homeland.
Okay, yeah. Notice in that song that Jesus ain't mentioned nowhere. It's the Lord of hosts that's being referred to. It's not Jesus.
Correct. Yes.
Right.
Right. Oh, okay. I don't know. Did I mention JC? I don't.
No. I was just
Oh,
saying
okay.
for people that's listening,
Yes, sir.
Jesus ain't mentioned nowhere. So it's not the person that's going to save us. It's not here. It's the Lord of hosts. And when you do your homework, you'll find out who that is. It's not Jesus. He had nothing to do with it. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Right.
Oh, for the listeners, leaving out the New Testament. Yes, sir. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have anything on that? Okay, you got some need to know information right here. Okay.
United States are now being warned that there could be a crisis coming to them very soon. Now, I'm going to break down what is going on and why it's something that's happening in other countries that is going to impact us here in the United States. And just a full warning, the majority of these states are on the East Coast. There's actually only a few on the West Coast. So I want to break down what's happening, why so many people are concerned with what is about to take place in their state and what this means for you if you live there. I'll also give you the list of all these states and what you should be looking forward to in the near future. So make sure you stick around for this entire video. All I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead and hit that like button. Enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So the United States is about to face a massive crisis. And this crisis actually has to do with 2 different countries. One is Venezuela. The second one is Haiti. First, let's talk about what is going on with Haiti. First off, Florida is now bracing for a surge in Haitian migrants amid their humanitarian crisis. We have known this for some time, and according to reports, they are stating that in Haiti, it's somewhat of a civil war that they're going through. Again, they are having a lot of issues down in Haiti, which is only 700 miles south of the Florida coast. So that is a huge concern for Florida. But what is actually happening right now is Governor Ron DeSantis. He is actually sending soldiers and aircraft to protect Florida from illegal immigrant boats amid this Haiti unrest. What we know is they say right here, Haiti is engulfed in what some experts have called a low-scale civil war. Now, here's the interesting part. President Biden is actually considering a way to prevent this. This is what he's looking into. It says the Biden administration is discussing using Guantanamo Bay to process possible influx of Haitian migrants. That was what we learned just yesterday. Now, President Biden is looking at this, and he does see this as a potential threat. But he does not want to just take all people, move them to Guantanamo Bay, and then process them there. Because, again, that's not what Guantanamo Bay is even meant for. But we'll see what happens. So right now, just based off of what we know from Haiti, the report is these are the states that have the highest Haitian population, and these are the ones that you should be concerned with if we do see thousands or potentially millions of people, because Haiti does have 11.5 million people. If they all decide to leave, which I doubt, but let's say even a quarter of them decide to leave, let's say even 10% decide to come to the United States, that's still over 1 million people. So these are the states they are warning of. Georgia, and these are not in any order. Georgia, New York, Florida, Texas, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Virginia, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Maryland. Now, I do want to point out one thing. Anytime we see an issue with New York, Vermont, which is just north of New York, also sees the influx of people. So for Haitians, they could potentially be going to Vermont as well. So that is another state that is being warned. Now, here's where things get somewhat scary. Haitian people are coming in because they need to get out of Haiti. Well, there's another country, and that is Venezuela. Venezuela, we are seeing a mass influx of people from there as well. Just in 2023 alone, we saw 335,000 encounters at the U.S. southern border, and only 834 deportations. So if we are not deporting as many people as, or the percentage that we need to, that means they're staying here. Well, reports indicate that Venezuelans could be potentially gone after. They could be pulled into gangs because, according to reports, the bloodthirsty Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua sets up shop in the United States as border authorities sound the alarm. We are seeing that Tren de Aragua is setting up shop in many large cities. Miami, New York, Chicago, these are just to name a few. But they say these are the states with the highest Venezuelan population. These are the ones that are likely going to be targeted by Tren de Aragua. That is Florida, Georgia, Texas, Utah, Illinois, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York, North Carolina, and California. I do want to point out a couple things. There are certain states, for example, Florida, that is going to be a massive stop for Tren de Aragua. So Florida, Texas, New York, and California, those 4 states. The reason why Texas is included in there is because how easy it was to get people into Texas before. Now it's a little bit more difficult, but they are still they still set up shop in Texas many years ago, and they are still staying there. But Texas and California, those are the 2 big ones on the West Coast. All right, Utah, I'm not sure exactly what really the reason why Utah is on this list, but it is.
This lighter will give you fire no matter what mother.
A few other things. Okay? It says Americans are warned to brace for the second wave of Venezuelan gangsters coming over the border as countries' prisons at least 100 inmates are released. They say these are killers. Now, they released over 100 inmates from a prison just recently. That happened, I think, just the other day. And so that right there is a massive concern. Now, I wouldn't call 100 people a second wave, but here's the reason why they're bringing this up: is if they release 100 inmates, these inmates then go and get their crew, their gangs together. Okay, they go and get their families. Then those people decide to trek over the U.S. southern border and make their way into the United States. That now, again, are all 100 inmates going to do this? I don't know. And I don't think anybody can tell you with absolute certainty. But is this a strong possibility? Yes. Because of...
Okay. Does that make any sense? That you got these other countries like Venezuela see what's going on with these immigrants, so they're releasing their prisoners for them to cross the border too. How crazy is that? And you got they going all out to deal with these Haitians, but these folks letting stone killers are releasing them for one intention: to get rid of them and for them to cross the border. But now all of a sudden, because Haitians coming, it's a big ass red alert. Okay, any comments?
Shalom. It's just frightful. It's just, yes, by even the immigrants are attacking people now. They're saying they're, like attacking the policemen, or robbing and stealing and raping. Now they're letting those prisoners out that they don't have family members here. They're just cold-hearted people. Yes, it's frightening.
Right. Yeah, I noticed when he called those states out, it was 13 of them. I think that's not a coincidence. You had 13 colonies when America first started. Now you got these 13 states right here that's warning of these immigrants. So I thought that was kind of ironic. Okay, so we're gonna open it up for some Q&A, comments or questions about anything from last week or previous classes. Anything somebody was researching and want to talk about or bring up? Everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Show you what's going on in Africa. Right quick. You start going to Isaiah.
Statement captured in the title header points to the entrenched economic disparities experienced by many African nations for decades. In not so many words, it also encourages a prompt and substantial shift towards a fairer distribution of resources and wealth between developed and developing nations.
We just read this in Isaiah chapter 60. It says, "Rise and shine, for the Lord is risen upon thee." Watch this.
And this call to action is
Not
attributed
Niger.
to General Tiani of Niger, who rose to power in a coup last year. In that same interview, the new head of state strongly condemned France's economic exploitation and pillaging of his country's resources. General Tiani disclosed that France has been systematically robbing Niger for the longest time. His exact words read like this: "France has plundered us for over 107 years. Now it must repay the debts accumulated from 65 years of systematic exploitation of our resources and the subsequent 42 years. As such, we will establish a timetable to ensure equitable reconciliation." The general went further to declare, "Establishing a new currency that is not denominated in CFA marks a departure from colonialism. The AES states certainly possess the expertise to pull it off, and in due time we will succeed by the will of Allah." And might we mention at this point that by way of resources, France needs Niger and not the other way round. So it will be interesting to see how this plays out. Ultimately, in a worst case scenario, France will most likely be made to suffer some economic cum developmental pains in its national life. Moreover, having hinted at the potential establishment of this shared currency among Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, Tiani saw the move as a pivotal stride towards diminishing reliance on former colonial powers. Thankfully, this proposal is already gaining momentum as the three nations endeavor to fortify their economic bonds.
Okay,
if enacted, the proposed currency is poised to facilitate trade and investment, fostering heightened stability and growth in the region.
So like I said, it's Isaiah 60 all up and down. It says arise and shine. So when you start seeing this, you're supposed to know, you should be alerted that where we at as far as the time where we at. So these three nations they're talking about is West Coast Africa, that's Israelites. You see them rising. I mean, it was a year ago. This was unheard of. Black men talking to Germans or Europeans in this manner, demanding stuff from them, talking to them like this. So it's got to be the end. Okay. So anybody have any comments on that? We'll go on to our topic, which is reading out of the book of Isaiah. If I'm not mistaken, we stopped in Isaiah chapter 5. Okay. So we'll start reading in Isaiah chapter 5. Somebody want to start reading in chapter 5? We'll just go from there. Okay. Somebody want to read chapter 5?
Shalom. I know Sister Joyce unmuted, but we can't hear her.
Okay. She might have to unmute her button.
She's going to go out and come back in.
Okay, you can let her read out to you, Michelle.
Yes, sir. Isaiah chapter 5.
Go.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I had to go back out. So, Isaiah chapter 5. Now will I sing to my well beloved a song of my beloved touching his vineyard. My well beloved have a vineyard in a very fruitful hill, and he fenced it, and gathered out the stones thereof, and planted it with the choicest vine, and built a tower in the midst of it, and also made a winepress therein. And he looked that it should bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes. O now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem, and men of Judea, judge, I pray you, betwixt me and my vineyard. What could have been done more? Excuse me, I have to sneeze. Excuse me. Verse 4. What could have been done more to my vineyard that I have not done in it? Wherefore, when I look, uh, I, I may have to have somebody else finish this because I have to sneeze again.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. Michelle, you want to read it?
Where she stopped at, verse 4?
Yeah.
Yes.
Isaiah chapter 5, verse 4. What could have been done more to my vineyard that I have not done in it? Wherefore, when I looked that it should bring forth grapes, but it brought forth wild grapes. And now go to, and I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will take away the hedge thereof, and it shall be eaten up, and break down the wall thereof, and it shall be trodden down. 6. And I will lay it waste. It shall not be pruned nor digged, but there shall come up briars and thorns. I will also command the clouds that they rain no rain upon it. For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel, and the men of Judah his pleasant plant. And he looked for judgment, but behold, oppression, for righteousness, but behold, a cry. Woe unto
Okay,
them.
okay, right there. Let's deal with 1 through 7. Anybody want to got any comments on 1 through 7? So this vineyard, what is this vineyard that you're talking about?
Is those the
Israel?
Israelites? Israel, yeah, Israelites.
Yeah, notice it's the men. The men of Israel is the great. We dealt with this in Obadiah. Let's look at it right quick. Go to Obadiah right quick, and you'll see that it says, it's only one chapter, so I'm in verse 5. The Lord of hosts talking. If thieves came to thee and rob us by night, how art thou cut off? He's talking to the Israel, the vineyard. Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If grape gatherers came to thee, would they not have left some grapes? So they came. Then we see that 6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? So Esau came to Jerusalem, to Israel, and got the grapes. But he asked the question: if they was grape gatherers like grape gatherers do, they're just gonna get what they need and leave. But these people came and they didn't leave no grapes, so they had another agenda. But the point I'm showing you is that the men of Israel is the grapes, and the vineyard is the nation of Israel, and he planted it when he got them, when he brought Abraham there, but when he went to Egypt and delivered them out of Egypt, he brought them back to that land and planted them there, planted the vineyard. So let's go back to Isaiah. So he says in verse 3, we can see right here who the grapes are. Again, he says, and now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem and men of Judah, judge, I pray you, between me and my vineyard. So these are principal men, righteous men, that you got the voice, you got a free will. What do you think? We see what's going on. He asked him, what do you think? He said, have I been righteous? Have they been righteous? And then verse 4 says, what could have been done more to my vineyard, Israel? Lord, I was talking, that I have not done in it. Wherefore, when I looked that it should bring forth grapes, it brought forth wild grapes. So what are you talking about? Intermingling. When he gave them the law, statutes, and judgments, what to do, and how to the statutes, and it was to mingle. I mean, to breed among themselves, marry among themselves. So when he gave them the law, statutes, he expecting Israelites to come forth, just like the ones that he planted. But they got out, started dealing with other nations, intermingling and all that, and he looked up, it's wild grapes, nut buckets. That's what he's saying. So verse 5, and now go to. Now that they're doing this, he says, now go to. I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will take away the hedge. That happened to us on a daily basis. If you're not keeping his laws, statutes, and judgments, then the hedge is gonna come down. That's where the drama gonna come in at. Nothing go right. So he says, and now go to, I will tell you what I shall do to my vineyard. I will take away the hedge thereof, and it shall be eaten up and break down the wall. That's the wall in Daniel 9:25. Wall of Jerusalem. Break down the wall. Nebuchadnezzar came. Therefore, and it shall be trodden down. That's the Chaldeans. And I will lay it waste, and it shall not be pruned, nor digged, but there shall come up briars, thorns, and I will also command the clouds that it shall rain. It shall not no rain come upon it. So why not no rain? Rain is what brings forth the produce. And even on the animals and all that, the rain is necessary. So we cut the rain off. And getting prune it, when you prune a tree and prepare it, it grows better. So he just left it alone. He brought the Nebuchadnezzar there and they shut it down. So for 70 years, he didn't do nothing to it. And then verse 7, for the vineyard of the Lord of hosts, he tell you who it is. It's the house of Israel. Then and notice this right here. And the men of Judah, his pleasant plant, right? And he looked for judgment, but behold, oppression, or for righteousness, but behold, a cry. So they was given the authority when he gave them the law, statutes, and judgments to judge the nations, to judge the world, to keep them on one accord, keep everything lined up. But they didn't do that. They went away from what they was given to do, and then he says, but instead he's seen oppression. Why oppression? Because they didn't keep this law, statutes, and judgment. They didn't judge the people. Like I said, you find a woman committing adultery or a man committing adultery, you take them outside the camp and kill them. They weren't doing that. They got away from that. 6 days you rest, 6 days you work, 7 days you rest. 6 years you till the ground, and 7 years in the 7th year you allowed to rest. And that was the number one thing that they didn't. The land, which is he gave them, that's his woman. So they was supposed to allow it to rest every 7 years, and they wasn't doing it. So that's why they had to go to Babylon for 70 years, because 490 years they weren't keeping that law. Right? So I want to shine light on something else. It says, and I will lay it to waste, and it shall not be pruned or nor dug, but there shall come up briars and thorns, and I will also command the clouds that it rain not. See that? Because they didn't keep the 6 days, 6 years, and rest on the 7th day. He's cutting the rain off. But this is the point I want to make. 7, for the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel, right? And the men of Judah. Notice this, the men of Judah, right? The men of Judah, that's all the men of Judah. His pleasant plant, singular. All the men of Judah is the pleasant plant. Now, you say, what are you talking about? Okay. Go to Isaiah 53. Like I say, every opportunity I get, I'm going to beat these clowns in the ground. So, go to Isaiah 53. Okay. Isaiah 53 says, verse 1, who have believed our report. That's the men of Judah, Levites, and the children of Judah. So, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? To the Levites. For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant. There it is. See that? But they want you to think there's a man, Jesus. But a tender plant, and as a root out of dry ground, and he have no form or comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no plant, there's no beauty that we shall desire him. So that's the pleasant plant. The men of Judah is the pleasant plant. Okay, so we go back where we was at. You was on verse 8?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Verse 8, woe unto them that join house to house, that lay field to field, till there be no place, that they may be placed alone in the midst of the earth. In mine ears, said the Lord of hosts, of a truth many houses shall be desolate, even great and fair, without inhabitant. Yea, 10 acres of vineyard shall yield one bath, and the seed of an homer shall yield an ephah. 11, woe unto them that rise up early in the morning, that they may follow strong drink, that continue unto night, till wine inflame them, and the harp and the viol and the tabret and pipe and wine are in their feasts. but they regard not the work of the Lord, neither
Okay, so let's
consider.
look at that. Let's look at that. So, like I was saying before, is this not describing what's going on today? Verse 11. Woe unto them that rise up early in the morning, that they may follow a strong drink. That's alcohol. They continue until the night, till wine inflame them. Ain't that happening today?
Yes, sir. Their taverns still open up until the weed morning. Yes,
Well,
sir.
right, but they can go to the liquor store and get alcohol. Start early
Yes,
in the
sir.
morning, drink all day. That's what that's telling you. We're doing that right now. Verse 3, verse 12. And the harp and the viol and the tabret and the pipe and the wine are in their feast, but they regard not the work of the Lord, neither consider the operation of his hands. So we know these priests because they dealing with the harp and the violin and all that. So they playing music, but the music ain't for the Lord of hosts. It says it says are in their feast. See that? But they regard not the work of the Lord. So they ain't playing the music and all that in regards to worshiping him. They drinking and playing music and it ain't it's in vain. It's supposed to be for to reference and worship of the Lord, praising the Lord. Okay. Well, so where you at 13 or what?
Um, 12 is where I was reading, but I didn't finish.
I read 12.
You did? Okay, then. Verse 13. Yes, sir. Therefore, my people are gone into captivity because they have no knowledge, and their honorable men are famished, and their multitude dried up with thirst. Therefore, hell hath enlarged herself and opened her mouth without measure, and the glory and their multitude and their pomp and he that rejoiceth shall descend into it. Okay. And the mean man shall be brought down, and the mighty man shall be humbled, and the eyes of the lofty shall be humbled. 16. But the Lord of hosts shall be exalted in judgment, and God that is holy shall be sanctified in righteousness. Then shall the lambs feed after their manner, and the waste places of the fat ones shall strangers eat. Woe unto them that draw iniquity with cords of vanity, and sin as it were with a cart rope, that say, let him make speed and hasten his work, that we may see it, and let the counsel of the Holy One of Israel draw nigh and come, that we may know it. 20. Woe unto them that call evil good, and good evil, that put darkness for light, and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet, and sweet for bitter. Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes, and prudent in their own sight. Woe unto them that are mighty to drink wine, and men of strength to mingle strong drink, which justify the wicked for reward, and take away righteousness of the righteous from him. Therefore, as the fire devoureth the stubble, and the flame consumeth the chaff, so their root shall be as rottenness, and their blossom shall go up as dust, because they have cast away the law of the Lord of hosts, and despised the word of the Holy One of Israel. Therefore is the anger of the Lord kindled against his people, and he had stretched forth his hand against them, and had smitten them, and the hills did tremble, and their carcasses were torn in the midst of the streets. For all this his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. And he will lift up an ensign to the nations from far, and will hiss unto them from the end of the earth. And behold, they shall come with speed swiftly. None shall be weary, nor stumble among them. None shall slumber, nor sleep. Neither shall the girdle of their loins be loosened, nor the latchet of their shoes be broken, whose arrows are sharp, and all their bows bent. Their horses' hoofs shall be counted like flint, and their wheels like a whirlwind. Their roaring shall be like a lion. They shall roar like young lions. Yea, they shall roar and lay hold of the prey, and shall carry it away safe, and none shall deliver it. And in that day they shall roar against them like the roaring of the sea. And if one look unto the land, behold darkness and sorrow, and the light is darkened in the heavens thereof. Isaiah chapter 5.
Okay, you got any comments on that?
No, sir, just that there are a lot of woes in this. And
Right.
from the beginning, I want to go back to chapter 5, verse 1, right? Reading this so many times, just where it says, now will I sing. I didn't, I read that, but just never really paid any attention to it. That where it says, now will I sing to my well beloved a song. That just always skipped me with reading that.
So what you get out of that?
That Isaiah is singing to Israel.
To the Lord of hosts.
Oh, to the Lord of hosts. Okay.
He says,
Okay.
now will I sing to my well-beloved a song of my beloved touching his vineyard.
His vineyard, yes.
Who
Yes,
vineyard is it? Who vineyard
yes.
is it?
It's the Lord of hosts.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you mentioned the woes. Like I said before, when you look at those woes, you can correlate all of them to the day. We read, well, they getting strong drink early in the morning and drinking all day, all the way through the night. And then they playing music in the temple and all that, but it ain't for the music ain't for what he was designed for, which was praise and worship for the Lord of hosts. So then you get down to 18. Warn to them that draw iniquity with cords of vanity. That's we see that today. They finding reasons why to make it to justify what they're doing. And knowing it's wicked as hell, but they find some kind of way in their head, in their mind, to say it's good. Then it says 19, that say, let him make speed and hasten his work, that we may see it, and let the counsel of the Holy One of Israel draw nigh to come, that we may know it. So that's like the self-righteous people, in the churches. They're saying, they all holy, and then they're gonna come out and show, like they so holy, and then if all the people see it, and they say, oh yeah, he that's a righteous man. So anyway, 20 says, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil. We're seeing that today, right? So if it's a woe back then for that, it's a woe now. And says, and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet, sweet for bitter. Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. Woe unto them that are mighty to drink wine. They go to wine again, and men of strength to mingle strong drink. Which justify, like I said before, justify the wicked for reward and take away the righteous of the righteous from him. Therefore, as the fire devoured the stubble and the flame consumeth the chaff, so their root shall be rottenness, and their bosom shall go up into dust. So saying they rotten, they ain't no good. Contrary to how they showing themselves. Like I said, they rotten. They might be standing there with these garments and all that on and shining like new money, but he said they rotten as hell, and their bosom shall go up in the dust because they have cast away. Here you go. A reason I wanted to read this right here was they have cast away the law of the Lord of hosts. So let's go back to Judges chapter 2. An angel came from the way of Beckham, and he came up to Israel and told them, I'm the one got the covenant. It's the angel got the covenant. And like I said before, I didn't write it. It's right there. So you have to ask yourself, why the hell you ain't seen it up until the point, until now, until the day when it's been revealed to you. You can't see it because you're dealing with JC. You can't see that. He said, he's telling you it's an angel. Came up from Beckham and he told them, I'm the one with the covenant. And so right here, we see that the problem is because they have cast away the law. What law? The Torah. The law of the Lord of hosts. So the Torah came from the Lord of hosts. See that? Then it says, and despise the word of the Holy One. Yahweh ain't no Holy One. Enoch tells us the 7 holy ones. Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, Phinel, Sirakel, and Uriel. So the Holy One right here is one of those holy ones. We know who that is. Michael. So the law, the Torah that we these Israelites hollering about all the time, the Lord of hosts is connected to it. He connected to the Torah by the hill, not JC. So if anybody was gonna come and die on the cross, it would have been the Lord of hosts. Okay? And then it says 25, therefore is the anger of the Lord kindled against his people. So he pissed off because he gave them the law. He gave it to Moses. And they're not keeping it. That's what we just read in Daniel when he says his indignation came to a full and brought the nation of Israel to an end. Cut the temple off. His temple. So it says, therefore is the anger of the Lord kindled against his people, and he hath stretched forth his hands against them, and hath smitten them. And the hills did tremble, and their carcasses were torn in the midst of the streets. For all this anger is not turned away, but his hand is still stretched out. I showed you what that was. I gave you a visual picture of what he's talking about. The Lord of hosts got his hand stretched out to heaven, to Yahweh. Getting acknowledgement, bringing judgment, just like he gave the Israel, just like he gave the Levites. He expected them to bring judgment because it was given to them to bring judgment. Yahweh gave him judgment. And that's what he knows, that's what the Lord Yahweh is expecting. So he's got his hand stretched out, bringing drama. So anyway, it says 26, and he will lift up an ensign to the nations from afar, and will hiss unto them from the ends of the earth, and behold, they shall come with speed quickly. So let's look at this. And he shall, like I said before, we've been reading out of the book of Jeremiah, and Jeremiah is telling you the Babylonians coming. Well, that's what Isaiah telling you too. The Babylonians coming. So we gotta let that permeate. So he says, 26, and he will lift up an ensign to the nations from afar. Who is that? Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar the ensign. Let's read it. He will lift up an ensign to the nations from afar, and will hiss unto them, call them, and the ends of the earth, and behold, they shall come with speed quickly. That's Nebuchadnezzar. He leading. So Nebuchadnezzar ensign. And he bringing them because they didn't turn away from his law. Okay? And so none shall be weary nor stumble among them. So these are the Chaldeans and the army that's with them. None shall be weary, none, so he makes sure they good. None shall be weary nor stumble among them. None shall slumber nor sleep. Neither shall the girdle of their loins be loose, nor the latchet of their shoes be broken, whose arrows are sharp, and all their bows bent. Their horses' hoofs shall be counted like a flint, and their wheels like the whirlwind. And their roaring shall be like a lion, and they shall roar like young lions, yea, and they shall roar and lay hold of the prey, which is Israel, and they shall carry it away safe. That's the good feed to Babylon. And none shall deliver it. And in that day they shall roar against them like the roaring of the sea. And if one look unto the land, behold darkness and sorrow, and the light is and the light is darkened in the heavens thereof. So there we go again, indirectly. If you understand how to read this, he says, and the light is darkened in the heavens there above. So back to this sun, the eclipse. And when he tells you the sun, and let's look at it. So the sun, the moon gonna get dark and all that. That's why it's saying the same thing right there in another way. I wouldn't be surprised if these nut books are tampered with it. But anyway, let's look at it. Joel right quick. Joel, chapter 2. Chapter 2 of Joel. Blow you the trumpet in Zion, sound the alarm in my holy mountain, and let the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh. For it is nigh at hand, a day of darkness. Same thing I just read. Day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and a thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and strong. There is none like thereof, the likeness, neither shall there be any after them. So, like he told us in Genesis, in the beginning, chapter 1, that sun and the moon is for signs. So these solar eclipses and the moon getting sun getting just get dark in the middle of the day, all of them signs. It's the day of the Lord. And like I said, it's been countless of days of the Lord. We just read one right here in Isaiah 5 and 30. And in that day there shall roar, the Chaldeans and Nebuchadnezzar shall roar against them, against the Israelites, like the roaring of the sea. And if one look unto the land, behold darkness, right? Same thing. And sorrow, and the light is darkened in the heavens thereof. Same thing. Okay. In comments.
Shalom.
Okay.
I figure, I feel that the Lord's woe is better than the devil's welcome, than Esau's welcome. His woes are like telling us what's to come. And Esau will, like we said one time before, be really sweet with words, be cunning and conniving. He's not going to let you know what's going on.
Right.
And by um, the Lord of Hosts woes, it's woe. That means pay attention, listen up.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the way to look at that is, if you go to someone's house and they got a dog on the porch, the watchdog, and when you get up to the gate, he stand up and he start growling, and you see that look on his face. You ain't going no further than that. So we know that the priests and these seers and these prophets, when they come to Israel and say, "Whoa," that's a dog growling. It's time for you to go. It's game over. Whatever you doing, you stop right there. You don't keep going because he pissed off. When he send the prophet and the prophet telling you, "Whoa this and whoa that," that's it. It's time to get right. And like I said, I don't know nobody that if they come in somebody's yard in a Doberman picture rock while on the porch and he start growling and looking at you crazy, you ain't gonna keep going. You're gonna stop in your tracks. So that's what that is. Woes is, and we know that no matter if it's Israel, Chaldeans, the Chinese, the Russians, when he's in a woe, then it's time to get right because it's drama and all hell coming behind that. That's what a woe is.
Right. That's what I was thinking. I was like, all these woes, they just walking around doing the most,
Right. Exactly.
like it's nothing. They like, whoa, okay.
Right.
And then here it is, it's like you said, 25, therefore is the anger of the Lord kindled against his people. But before that, you got all these woes.
Right. So guess what? That goes that's for another part of what they did in constructing JC because he got woes. This is where they getting it from. He got woes. But we go back to the book of Enoch, and Enoch got woes. Well, that's where it comes from. Like I said, he's a character that when the Gentiles got a hold to our record, this the character. That's the character they came up with JC from our scriptures. Okay. So somebody want to read 6. And then we call it a day after that.
Isaiah chapter 6.
Right.
Okay. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw also the Lord sitting upon a throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. Above it stood the seraphims. Each one had 6 wings. With twine he covered his face, and with the twine he covered his feet, and with twine he did fly. And one cried unto another, and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. And the posts of the door moved at the voice of him that cried, and the house was lifted with smoke. Then said I, Woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of people of unclean lips. For mine eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. Verse 6. Excuse me. Then flew one of the seraphims unto me, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the tongs from off the altar. And he had it upon my mouth, and said, Lo, this hath this hath touched thy lips, and thy iniquity is taken away, and thy sin purged. Also I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send, and who will go for us? Then said I, Here I am, send me. Verse 9. And he said, Go and tell his people, Hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see ye indeed, but perceive not. Make the heart of this people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and convert, and be healed. Then said I, Lord, how long? And he answered, Until the cities be wasted without inhabitant, and the houses without man, and the land be utterly desolate. Verse 12. And the Lord have removed men far away, and there be a great forsaking in the midst of the land. But yet it shall be a tenth, and it shall return, and shall be eaten as a teal tree, and as an oak, whose substance is in them, which they cast their leaves. So the holy seed shall be the substance thereof. Okay, that was chapter 6, 1 through
Okay.
13.
Right. So you can see right here, you paying attention that they cut this chapter off. Can anybody see that? Chapter got cut off. Okay, anyway, so it says, in the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord sitting upon the throne and lifted up, and his train filled the temple, right? So go back to Isaiah chapter 1. So this is Isaiah commission right here, chapter 1, verse 1. The vision of Uzziah, the son of Amos, which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the days of Uzziah. There you go, Uzziah right there. Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah. So you say, why am I reading this? Well, we notice in the book in First and Second Chronicles, First and Second Kings, it will tell you who a king was, and then tell you whether he was righteous or not, unrighteous. So we see right here, if you go look at these men in the First Chronicles and First and Second Kings, you'll see Uzziah was wicked as hell. Then his son Jotham was wicked as hell. Everybody know Ahaz was wicked. And so he got a covenant with David that if any man that it's always gonna be some wicked seeds on the throne, but he's gonna put the spirit, David's spirit, in one and cut that wickedness off. He's only gonna go for so long. He's gonna raise up a righteous one. So Uzziah was wicked as hell. Jotham, Ahaz, Then he raised up Hezekiah. That's one of the tender mercies that he's talking about that he got for David. You're going to always bring up a righteous seed to turn them back to Israel, turn them back to him out of David's lineage. And that's an example right there. We see another one was Jehoshaphat. Then he raised up Josiah. It's always going to be a righteous seed after the wickedness is going to only go so long. Then he's going to raise up a righteous seed. That's a part of the covenant he got with David. So that's why it's saying to you right here in chapter 6, verse 1. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord sitting upon his throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. And above it stood the seraphim. Each one had 6 wings. With twine he covered his face, and with twine he covered his feet, and with twine he did fly. And one cried unto another and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is filled with his glory. So notice right here, the whole earth is filled with the glory of the Lord of hosts. So you say, what are you talking about? Well, Yahweh in heaven. All the heavens is filled with the glory of the Yahweh. Michael is he who like Yahweh. That's why he's saying the earth, the heaven is my home, and the earth is my footstool, because the Lord of hosts is on the earth. That's his footstool. But anyway, 3 says, and one cried to another one, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of it. And the post of the door moved at the voice of him that cried, and the house was filled with smoke. So it's inside the temple. When they was doing this praise and worship, the post moved. And like I said, the smoke came so nobody could see. The thick cloud. Then I said, woe, see that? Is me, for I am undone. Isaiah said that, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of people of unclean lips. For thine eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. Like I was telling you, they're dealing with him in the temple. He just said it. So let's go back and look at that. They didn't told you no man seen God, no man seen the Father. Look at that right here. Then said I, woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of people of unclean lips. For my eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. So that kills that right there. Then flew one of the seraphim unto me, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the stones from off the altar. So what is that talking about? Let's look at that, because it needs to be explained. So you go to Ezekiel, right? I talked about this before, but we go here right quick. So you go to Ezekiel chapter 40. Like I said, they go from Revelations back here to Ezekiel 40, the vision of the temple. So this ain't no temple. It's supposed to be the temple that's built. That ain't been built yet. Right? The Antichrist is supposed to come and all that. But this is the temple that Zerubbabel built. So it says right here, in the 5th and 20th year of our captivity, that's the Chaldeans, the Babylonian captivity, right? In the beginning of the year, in the 10th day of the month, in the 14th year after the city was smitten, it's after Nebuchadnezzar had smitten the city, right? In the same day, it's Ezekiel. So Ezekiel, Jeremiah, and Isaiah talk about the Babylonian captivity. You can't go from Revelation to these and deal with nothing in the future out of these chapters. So he says, the hand of the Lord was upon me. So this right after Nebuchadnezzar had destroyed the temple in Babylon, Solomon's temple. So in the vision of God, he brought me into the land of Israel and set me upon a very high mountain, by which was a frame of a city, because it's already been destroyed. He in the captivity in Babylon, he taking him back and showing him that it's going to be rebuilt, that Daniel prophesied about. So 3 says, and he brought me thither, and behold, there was a man whose appearance was like the appearance of brass, with a line of flex in his hand, and a measuring reed, and he stood in the gate. And the man said unto me, Son of man, behold, with thine eyes, hear with thy ears, and set thine heart upon all that I shall show thee. For lo, to the intent that I may show thee, show them unto thee art thou brought hither. Declare all that I see to the house of Israel. So here go another misnomer right here. I need to show you this. So it says, and this is happening every day to Israelites. They're seeking the truth. It says, the angel told Ezekiel, verse 4, the man said unto me, Gabriel said to Ezekiel, Son of man, behold, look at this, behold with thine eyes, hear with thine ears, and set thy heart upon all that I shall show thee. Negroes ain't doing that. That's where the problem coming in at. They got all kind of other stuff going on. For lo, to the intent that I might show, in the intent that I might show thee unto thee thou art brought hither. Declare all that that thou seest to the house of Israel. So that's how you deal with scripture. Right there. So anyway, 5. And behold, a wall on the outside of the house round about, and in the man's hand a measuring reed is 6 cubits long by a cubit a breadth. So he measured the breadth and the building 1 reed, and the height 1 reed. Then came he unto the gate, which looking toward the east. There you go, right here. I was telling you the gate you asked me about. It's the east gate where the Lord coming in at. Then came he unto me the gate, which looking toward the east, and he went up the stairs thereof, and he measured the threshold of the gate, which was 1 reed broad, and the other threshold of the gate, which was 1 reed broad, and every little chamber was 1 reed and 1 reed broad. Anyway, so we keep going, and I wanted to show you this here. Like I said, people read over this. Okay, so
thank you. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so this measure, this 41. Let me get it. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I think this is it right here, 43 in verse 1. After he brought me to the gate, even the gate that looketh toward the east, that's the gate we was talking about. And behold, the glory of God came from the way of the east, and his voice was like the noise of many waters, and the earth shined with his glory. And it was according to the appearance of the vision which I had saw, even according to the vision that I saw when I came to destroy the city. And the vision were like the vision that I saw by the river Kabor, and I fell upon my face. So what he's looking at is the same contraction. Let's go look at it right quick. I got into it, so I got to deal with it. So go back to Ezekiel chapter 1, and then you go to verse 19. Ezekiel 1 and 19. And when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them, and they lifted up from the earth, and the wheels were lifted up whithersoever the spirit would go, they went. Thither was their spirit to go, and the wheels were lifted up over against them, for the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. So he said there's some kind of contraption, a machine or whatever, that and we know that the Lord hosts is on top of that, on top of the Sapphire song. So he's telling you right here in 43 that say this is Ezekiel. Verse 3 says, 43 and 3, and it was according to the appearance of the vision which I had saw. That's the one I just read. Verse 1. And it's according to the vision, according to the appearance of the vision which I saw, even according to the vision that I saw when I came to destroy the city. And the vision were like the vision that I saw by the river Kabor, and I fell on my face. So that take you back to Ezekiel 1. Then here you go. And the glory of the Lord came into the house by the way of the gate, whose prospect is toward the east. So the contraption came down but at the east gate. That's why he's telling you, close the gate, open the gate, because he came down by the east gate, then he went in through the east gate. Let's look at it. 3. And it was according to the appearance of the vision which I saw, even according to the vision that I saw when I came see that in this contraption to destroy the city. And the vision were like the vision that I saw by the river Cable, and I fell upon my face. And the glory of the Lord came into the house. See that? He got out the contraption, went into the house, into the temple, right? So he says, and the glory of the Lord came into the house by the way of the gate, whose prospect is toward the east. So the Spirit took me up and brought me into the inner court, right? And behold, the glory of the Lord filled the house. So he then came and parked on the side of the temple. Okay, and then he goes into the temple. And so that took me back to where I was at in chapter 6 right here. So he says, verse 5 says, then said Isaiah 6 and verse 5 says, then said I, woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of people of unclean lips. For mine eyes have seen the King, the Lord also. He just like we see over there, he just showed up, right? Then 6. Then flew one of the seraphim unto me, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken from off the altar. So they parked on the side of the temple. He then went into the temple where the altar at, where the coals at, and he got one of the coals, right? Then he says, and having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the thorns from off the altar that's in the temple. Then 7, and he laid it upon my mouth and said, lo, this hath touched thy lips, and thy iniquity is taken away, and thy sin is purged. Also, I heard the voice of the Lord saying, see that? So the Lord standing there while the other angel went and got the coal. And he says, and I heard the voice of the Lord saying, who shall I send? And who will go for me? Then said I, Isaiah, here I am, send me. So I'm just showing you what's going on. And so you say, what you talking about? Let's go to Ezekiel right here and then we'll close. But, I don't really go here too much because, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to throw nobody out. But anyway, so you go to Ezekiel. Chapter 9. We're going to see the same thing. Right? Chapter 9. Okay, there you go. This is the vision of the slaughter of the guilty, of the guilty, right? This is, I'm going to start reading. Ezekiel 9:1. He cried also in mine ears with a loud voice, saying, cause them to have charge over the city, right? To draw near, every man with his destroying weapon in his hand, right? 2. And behold, 6 men came from the way of the higher gate. They go to the gate again. See that? Which lieth toward the north. So this ain't the east gate. They come, only the Lord of hosts can come through the east gate. So he says, and behold, the 6 men came from the way of the higher gate, which lieth toward the north. And every man had a slaughter weapon in his hand. And one man among them was clothed with linen, with a white as inkhorn by his side. And they went in, and here you go. And they stood beside the brazen altar, same altar, in the temple. Just like the angel went to the altar and got a coal and put it on Jeremiah's mouth. So 1 and 6 is 7. Lord of hosts is 1, and the other 6 is there. And they got their favorite weapon in their hand. And they come in through the gate that lies toward the north, and they come into the altar, and they get around the altar. See that? Then 3. And the glory of God of Israel was gone up. So now he goes up, the Lord of hosts. He goes up, gone up from the cherubim to the other 6, whereupon he was to the threshold of the house. So he didn't raised up. He at the top of in the top of the temple, looking down at the other ones. So he says, whereupon he was to the threshold of the house, and he called to the man clothed with linen, which had the right inkhorn by his side, and the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, Jerusalem. Go through the midst of Jerusalem. So they tell you where they at. That's what it's altar at. It ain't nothing but it's in the temple. It's the altar in the temple. It ain't in heaven. So he says, and set a mark upon the forehead of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that are done in this place, in the midst thereof. So there it is, like I said before. So it's a whole nother story going on that you have to see. You got to see it in order for, if you're gonna move forward, what's really going on. And this type of information, purge JC out of your mind. You're still fumbling with it. Purge it out, because he ain't got nothing to do with it. Okay. So anybody got any comments or questions before we go? We stopped at what? 7?
Yes, sir.
6.
Pick up at 7. Okay. So
Pick up at 7.
Pick back up
Shalom.
at 7.
okay.
Shalom. I just want to say something. They didn't mention about the burning of pain or anything, and maybe because a lot of hosts had him not to feel the pain, because the coal upon um, his lips, he didn't scream out or yell. They didn't mention
No,
about
it's not. It's
pain.
not. It's not. It's not that. It's not. If you go back to the burning bush, the
Yes,
fire
sir.
was on fire was on the bush, but it didn't burn. It's a different type of fire.
Oh, okay.
Right. It's a different type of fire. It ain't. It
Yeah.
ain't. Yeah. So these are like I said. These Israelites, these Levites, they men wanted that. And that's what's happening today. He's waking up Israelites, Levites. He's waking up, and then everybody ain't a Levite, but they want to play the role of a Levite, but they ain't a Levite. It's the signs gonna show you they ain't a Levite. Like I said, if I show you in the scriptures that the angel of the Lord came up from Gilgal to Beckham and said, "I'm the one with the covenant," you got to redirect the spirit that's on you. Gonna redirect your whole understanding. You're gonna go search that out. You ain't gonna keep on with the bullshit you've been dealing with, because it ain't flowing with what's being delivered to you. No matter who it is that deliver it, you can. So it's a different breed of man. It's different, and that's who he raising up. He raising their spirit back up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else got anything before we go? Okay. So with that being said, we got our clubhouse tomorrow at 7 on Clubhouse. The room is non-messianic conversations if you want to come and listen in. Okay. So with that being said, I want to say shalom to everybody, and I'll see everybody tomorrow at 7 to 9 on Clubhouse. If not, I'll see you on the Shabbat, either the morning Shabbat or the evening Shabbat. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom, everyone.
Shalom.